Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I gotta go and do my workout in a little bit, but I gotta get my videos done for today. So I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot of you have been asking about. I did this video on the levels of freedom, okay, that I consider levels of freedom, which you can check out here. I've probably done a second video on this, but a lot of you were asking me about this. You're very concerned about this, of course. One of my highest values in life, probably my highest value in life, is freedom, right? And I've done a whole playlist. You can check out what freedom means to me, what I mean by freedom. When I say that, you might want to check that out because it's probably going to be important to you as well. Basically, to summarize, my whole idea of freedom is being able to do what you want, whether not having other people hold you back or yourself. More than likely, it's yourself that's holding you back, especially as you start to become more liberated and start to become more self-confident and to have a higher self-esteem and more self-aware. You find that it's not other people holding you back, but you start to have the achiever mentality, not non-victim, the more responsible for my own life mentality. But as you get there, one of the things that you'll find, right, and watch the video again on the levels of freedom. I'll give you the quick summary here though. Level 1 of freedom is that you are very much conscious of what other people think, and so it intimidates you, and your behavior is governed by how other people make you feel and how you're afraid of being perceived by them. And so you're shy, you're timid, you're afraid to do things, right? You're afraid to look bad, right? All these things. You fear rejection, essentially, right? For a lot of you guys out there, right? You're at level 1, you've never gone and approached a girl and talked to a girl that you like because you're afraid. You're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of all these things, you're afraid, a lot of areas of your life. That's a level 1 of freedom, okay? Level 2 is where you actually are able to overcome that. You don't necessarily care what other people think, but you care so much about what you think, right? And your perceptions of that you feel compelled to do things. You have to prove to yourself. You have to prove to other people, right? This is where you're acting out of compulsion, not out of free will, where you're doing things because you want to prove it, right? So maybe, again, I'll use the guy example because I get asked this a lot, but as a guy, like maybe you're like, okay, well, I can go and I can overcome this approach anxiety, but I'm going to force myself to do it every single freaking time. Okay? and it's not natural because you're forcing yourself to do it, right? Or when I was recording videos in public, it was like, at one point I was level 2 and I was like forcing myself, I have to fucking do this, right? Because I feel uncomfortable, so I'm making myself do this, okay? And it's not a bad place to be. Level 2 is great and you have to be there. But level 3 is where you're so confident, it doesn't matter. You really honestly don't care what other people think, that you have the true freedom, that you act how you feel like acting. And it's where it's coming out of that, out of spontaneity to some degree, out of the ability to do it. You're manifesting what you want out of life. You're not compelled to do it. You're not squeezed to do it, right? And other people aren't. What they think of you doesn't influence your behavior, and what you think of yourself doesn't influence your behavior, so you're not compelled either. So that's that level 3 freedom. So how do you get from level 2 to level 3? This is a common question I get all the time. I was just at the Strive conference here in Las Vegas. At the time of the recording this video, maybe it'll be like 3 weeks, difference. But anyway, I was at the conference and I was talking to a bunch of guys. It's funny, when I go to one of these conferences or something like this, even when people don't know who I am, I'm almost always surrounded by like 19-year-old guys that are like asking me all these kind of man questions and things like that. I don't know why. I just seem to try. But I want to help. A lot of you are that demographic, and I want to help you, right? Not that I can't help you if you're not. But my heart goes out to you because when I was your age, right, or I guess maybe a little bit younger, I didn't have some of the shit figured out, and it cost me a lot of things in life, I think, right? So anyway, I was actually addressing this question, so I thought I'd do a video about this because I was talking to a bunch of guys that, again, I was doing some coaching there in Vegas for these younger guys and stuff with approach anxiety, and by the way, if I'm in Vegas, I always offer some slots for that, but anyway, they were very concerned about going from level 2. Like a lot of them were talking about how they had become level 2 of freedom, and they were no longer necessarily afraid. Like they were able to do it, like to talk to girls, right? To overcome this approach anxiety, but they were anxious, right? They're anxious about this, right? So they would do it, okay, but they would do it sort of out of compulsion, and they never felt comfortable, and so they were getting kind of bad results because they would be very nervous, and but they're forcing themselves to go through this nervousness, and they said, well, what level 3, what you said, that sounds great. That's what I want to be at, right? That's what I need to be at in order to be more natural, to have success, right? And to feel confident in this. And so how do you get there? If you don't commit, right? If you're not putting your all in when you're doing stuff, you're not getting the most out of it, right? Because you're not putting yourself out there enough. And also, you also end up not having as high of a chance of success. And so again, you can watch the video. I highly recommend that you do. I'll give you a quick summary of the idea here. I talked about in this video about jumping over a ditch, right, when I was a kid, and how like you have to like run as hard as you can and jump as hard as you can, otherwise you're not going to make it. You can barely make it over that ditch if you do that. But if you stutter step, right, if you sort of don't give it your full effort because you're afraid you might not make it and you want to be able to back out, what you do is you fall in the fucking ditch, right? Or you stop short and you don't jump at all, right? And so the way to success, right, is to commit 100%. It's just to assume you're going to make it and just fly as hard as you can, right? Anything less than that is just plain stupidity because you're greatly increasing your chances of falling in the pit. And you can say, I tried many times, and you can keep on practicing, but if you're not practicing full out, 100% committed to what you're doing, you're robbing yourself because you're not really getting the benefit of that practice, okay? So that's why I'm starting here, because you'll see when I talk about the second thing here. But this applies to like all kinds of things in life. Karaoke, you know, when I was doing videos out on the street, or when I'm doing videos here, if I am not bringing it up, right? Right now, I'm bringing it up, right? Right now, I'm like, fuck this. I am going to give you 100% of me when I'm making this video. If I'm not doing that, I'm not growing, I'm not expanding, I'm not getting over my discomfort, right? When you're on stage, okay? When I was on stage before, there were times when I'm not doing that. And when I'm not growing. I'm gaining some experience, but it's not really the true growth. I'm not moving from the level 2 to level 3. I still care what people think, okay? And I'm still acting out of compulsion. I can force myself to do things, okay? Because I want to prove something to me or to the world, but I can do it in such a way that I'm not giving it my 100%. So I still have this sort of escape route where I can say, well, it wasn't really me really trying, right? And I've talked about this concept many, many times, but this is the key to going from level 2 to level 3 is just go all the way out there, right? When I was coaching these guys and I was showing them, I was like, look, watch this. And I would just go up to someone and be like, hey, what is going on? How is it going? What is up? Right? And I would approach like that, okay? To whether it be a guy or a girl, it doesn't even fucking matter, right? But you see what I'm saying? Like that is like, so I'm all in here, right? Like you're not mistaken. Like it's not like I'm like, hey, excuse me, right? Hi, my name is John, right? That's like, oh, was this guy even really talking to me? Or you see what I'm saying? Like that's not, I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not putting myself out there very far. Yes, it takes some balls to even just say that, right? If you have social anxiety, if you have approach anxiety, right? All those things, it takes some balls just to say that. And maybe start there, that's fine. But I'm saying if you want to grow and you want to improve, you got to be like, well, bam, right? Coming out there, full force, 100% what you got, okay? And that's how you grow. That's how you improve. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, you can do it for a long time and not get that. So then this will bring us to the second point here, okay? To move from level 2 to level 3. And you're going to have different areas of your life where you're going to be at different levels, okay? It's not like you just suddenly graduate to level 3, right? There's plenty of areas in my life where I still am self-conscious, where I'm level 1 maybe, and there's a lot of areas more where I'm level 2, and there's some areas where I'm level 3, and it depends on the context, right? I can be level 3 in some situations and not in others, but I'm working on that, okay? So the second thing here is that you have to repeat it over and over again, okay? By the time you know that I've done this 100, 150 times, okay? I'm not afraid to do it anymore, right? If you want a good example of this, okay, which is really similar, be a salesman. Go be a door-to-door salesman, okay? At one point, I was like knocking down doors, trying to put gumball machines in places. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it now. But you know, when I was going into the businesses, I felt like a fucking chump at first, right? It was not very pleasant and scary. You know, it was pretty scary actually. And then after I'd done so many of them, it became second nature. Like, okay, yeah, I can do this, right? Same thing with approaching people or talking to, you know, if you have approach anxiety and whatnot, is you got to keep on doing it a lot, right? And you might say, well, that's what I was doing when I was doing out of compulsion at level 2. Yes, I agree, but you were not giving it 100%. That's why I said the 100% committing all in first, is because once you do that, right, that's when you have the breakthroughs, is when you give it 100% and you put yourself all the way out there, and yet you still repeat that. And the more that you repeat that, first of all, you're going to have a higher chance of success, because when you put your fucking self all the way out there, people respect you. They may not like you, okay? You may flop, right? But they're gonna respect you. They're gonna say, man, that guy gave it all. He sounded like shit, right? His karaoke, his voice, he needs to get some vocal training. He sucks, but you know what? He fucking went for it. He grabbed that microphone and he gave it 110%. And I'm giving him a clap for that. That's good, okay? Right? Same thing, you know, in all areas of life. It's like people will root for you if you go for it, whether you suck or not, okay? But so you've got to do that, because that increases your success and increases your perception. Confidence is when it can only be bought by experience, okay? You're confident when, just like we say, I'm confident about this, it means you know the outcome of something, right? You're confident when you know the outcome of something. So in order to know the outcome of something, good or bad, how can you do that, right? You have to repeat it. So you have to repeat. So again, to move to from level 2 to level 3 in terms of freedom in a particular area, 1, you're committing 100%. You're going all in on that stuff. You're committing yourself. You're putting yourself out there, having a higher area of vulnerability, okay? And 2, you're doing it over and over again. And eventually what will happen is it'll become second nature. You'll be used to putting yourself out there. I mean, just like, I'll give you one last example here. Check out these YouTube videos, right? Check out some of my older YouTube videos. Look at my channel and see if you can see the difference, right? It's embarrassing to make YouTube videos when you first start out, okay? It's embarrassing to talk to a camera and to put it out there for all of your, you know, friends and family and strangers on the internet to see, especially when you talk about some personal subjects, which I talk about on this channel. But you do it, and you put yourself out there 100%, and you commit to it, and you do a lot of videos, and then pretty soon you get to where I'm at now, which is like, I'll just make a fucking video. Or you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a problem. I can talk to the camera. I can talk to you like you're my buddy there. You're sitting there on the other side of the camera. You're watching this. I can do that. Why? Why? Because 1, I committed 100% when I started doing videos. Not always, but I did enough of that, and I did it enough times that I'm perfectly comfortable. As soon as I turn that camera on, I'm perfectly comfortable to do that. It doesn't mean that I don't ever slip back. It doesn't mean that I make an excellent video every time. But at least, if you're watching this far, you're like, man, this guy is really, he's giving me the energy. He's giving it to me. He's really doing, you know, and he's not leaving anything behind, okay? And again, you might disagree totally with what I'm saying, but you're going to respect me at the end of the day because of my own enthusiasm, because I'm giving you 100%. And honestly, at this point, it's not compelled, right? I'm doing it. I'm saying things, not caring what other people think, what your opinion of it is. I'm only trying to communicate my message, and that's the thing. It's like when you get there and you hit that level 3 of freedom, you will be only working on your objective. You won't be influenced. You won't be a puppet being pulled by your strings, because you will be focused simply on doing what you're trying to accomplish, as opposed to worrying about what other people think about that. Are you good enough? Are you proving yourself? All of these things that complicate our motives and make us screw up, right? Well, our best performance when we're in the zone is when we don't give a flying fuck. So that's how you get there, and it takes that progress. It takes those steps to go there. The hardest leap is from 1 to 2. The hardest leap is to force yourself to do stuff that you're afraid to do. It is by far the hardest. But once you get there, you can't stay there. You've got to then go 100%, commit all the way, and keep on doing it until it becomes second nature. All right, that's all I got for you today. I'm not even going to tell you to click the subscribe button. Click the bell. Let's get on. Let's do this. Click the bell so that you don't miss any videos. You'll get a little notification every time I release a video, which will be like twice a day. But that's okay. It's okay. That means that you've got a new video to watch. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.